Hey guys, it's Quinn from the Hey You Hi There podcast. We're with Cody Miyashiro-Carvalho, our guest for episode 4. And we have a few updates since we filmed the podcast. So why don't you let us know what you're up to now?
Yeah, so thank you for this chance again to introduce myself. I'm Cody Miyashiro-Carvalho, like Quinn said. Recently, I just got my certification to teach meditation. So in partnership with my wife, Caitlin Miyashiro-Carvalho, who is a yoga teacher, we kind of combined forces and came together and started a company called Asana and Aloha, with our main mission being to make the practice of yoga and meditation, just wellness and healing practices in general, accessible and available to as many people in Hawaii and beyond as we can. With that, we're doing some creative things around different options for pricing, letting people do yoga and meditation according to their budgets and their intent and what they want to get out of it. Also able to contribute to allow other people to do yoga. So we have donations that are coming in from some of our guests that are helping to support those who might not be able to afford it. Also putting on some community events. So like one of the ones coming up is going to be on October 1st. Real soon we're going to be doing a free yoga meditation event for teachers. So any teacher can be in the state of Hawaii or in another state, but we're just trying to celebrate teachers right now during this difficult time, during the pandemic, all the hard work they're doing to shuffle things around and learn a whole new way of teaching online and virtual. And so we just want to celebrate them and mahalo them, give them an opportunity to take a little break, restore themselves through yoga and breath work and meditation. So we're running a promotion right now at Asana and Aloha on Instagram, but we also have a website we just launched.
We just launched a website.
That's asanaaloha.org. So those are all different ways you can check us out on our latest, promotion things for.
And talking to Cody earlier, this is one of hopefully many more community events to come. So stay tuned to their website, asanaandaloha.org.
Bye.
Hey you, hi there, I see you. Come over, grab a mic. Hey you, wanna share? We wanna hear ya. We all win, win, win. Hey you, hi there. We wanna know who you are. Shoot for the stars. Hey you, right there. With J Rock and Quinn, it's time to begin. Hey, 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 hey. What's the money?
Okay, we're recording. Okay, welcome to another episode of Hey There. Oh, hey you. Gosh damn it. Forgot the name of our own show. I looked at me, I was like, wait. I looked at both of you and it was like, no, that's not at all what it is. Ready? And I'm resetting. Hey you.
Hi there.
I can't. So we're here for another great episode of Hey You Hi There. I'm J-Rock.
Quinn.
Melanie.
Cody.
And this is, it's our guest over here. Quinn, can you give us a little rundown of maybe the reason why you wanted to have Cody on here with us?
In 2013, we were on a flight together.
Mm-hmm.
This is before, Cody's my brother-in-law, so he's married to my younger sister. Before they were dating or anything, I met him on the plane. We're going to Disneyland as a family, and I saw him and I said, I think Katie's going to marry him.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And they weren't even
that.
dating or anything yet. I just called it that day, and they've been
I
married
love
for...
that so
That's because we know you have psychic
She has
powers.
magical powers,
My
y'all.
Moldavite ring that matches this
Watch
puffy
out
jacket
now.
I'm wearing. So we've been family for 7 years.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. It's been that long already?
Yeah, but just recently, definitely in the last 6 months, but we've always been close from day one, but in the last 6 months, spending a lot more time together in quarantine. So I got to learn more about him, and we're very similar. We always have a good time, good energy all the time, and that's really why I wanted to, I wanted to bring him onto the podcast to kind of share that energy and that vibe with us, because that's what we're all about.
We about it.
And listen, when you get along with an in-law, that's a good thing. That doesn't
Exactly.
happen.
Signs
That
are
doesn't always
delivered.
happen. All right, well, let's get to it, sir. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was born and raised here in Oʻahu. I'm currently, for work, I'm a flight attendant, so I get to do a lot of traveling, or had done a lot of traveling prior to COVID,
fabulous.
obviously, something I miss. But I also kind of, just about my journey, I'm someone who's come from a background here in Hawaii. It's not very uncommon, actually, like for a lot of us, that just challenging childhoods. I grew up witnessing a lot of things that I think children just shouldn't be witnessing, experiencing. A lot of violence and abuse that I saw within my household, and that I experienced myself. And so one thing that kind of stuck with me through all that I didn't even know really clung to me the whole time was just a lot of stress, fear, and anxiety that I carried with me as a child, as I grew up. So throughout school, I think a lot of the way that I tried to process a lot of that with a lot of emotions and thoughts constantly running through my head as I tried to direct it at accomplishing things. So it started in school, and then afterwards looking into different projects or just ventures that I could like put my mind to try to accomplish and achieve. And I really ran it too hard and too far at some point. Along the way, I struggled with anxiety, depression, at all different stages. And it all kind of culminated in the end with a really big panic attack I had just a couple of years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience to go through, because it was one of those things where I just really couldn't think, say, or do really anything. I felt paralyzed in a lot of fear and stress. And it wasn't even like any one thing had done it. It was definitely a buildup of a lot. So it just led to this journey for me of looking into myself through a lot of different methods. I mean, at that point, it was like I was struggling and I was just trying to try all kinds of things to see what would stick. So, I mean, I went to therapy, and really enjoyed that, got a lot of insight out of that, but I knew I needed more. And one of the things that I recognized about myself was that my mind was just nonstop going. Like, I know that I think most people experience that in the course of their day-to-day lives, but this to me felt like another level, because I wasn't just thinking about, what I needed to do. I was thinking about what I need to accomplish so that people view me a certain way, what I need to do so that I get the kind of like affirmation and acceptance that I'm craving. And I think I noticed through my work that I craved that because of my childhood, like the adverse experiences I went through, especially with my dad, just not making me feel secure and affirming my value as a kid made me search for that in a lot of other ways. And so I just realized that my mind just kept spinning and going, and I would tell people it feels like if I don't direct it at something, it feels like it's eating itself. Like it just felt destructive. So I was looking for ways to get an understanding of what was going on in my head, and also to kind of control it, because it was just not taking me to places I wanted to be. And I stumbled across first yoga, and that was thanks to my wife. She introduced me to yoga first as just kind of a way to exercise, because one of the things that had happened with all the stress and anxiety was it took physical manifestation. So it started turning into like chronic back and neck pain, chronic migraine headaches. And so she suggested I do that just to stretch and soften my body a little bit, try to relieve that pain. But then it kind of gave me the opening to explore a lot of other things that are in the wellness industry, that are in like Eastern philosophy and wellness practices. And I stumbled across meditation at some point. And meditation, the way I kind of came upon it was explained to me as a way to kind of declutter your mind, like to de-stress it and to clear it, purify it. I think the biggest metaphor somebody kind of told me that really stuck, because it's a very modern day metaphor, is like it's like when your phone's on and you have all the apps open all at the same time, right? And we do that, right? When we mindlessly just open things without closing them. And at some point, everybody knows that when you have too many things open and it's all going at the same time, it's taxing on the device, on the battery. And when you think about it, that's kind of like your mind. Like you throughout the course of the day, your experiences, the thoughts and the feelings you have, you open up a lot of apps. a lot of programs in your mind that are constantly running in the background, even if you don't notice, and it's not the one you're looking at that very moment. And that's taxing on you and your battery, your energy, your body. And for me, my mind and those physical manifestations, like I said. So I first learned the concept of meditating from this book called Stress Less, Accomplish More. And she's the one who, the author, presented the metaphor of the phone, and that meditation's really like you're going into your, opening up all your windows and you're one by one observing what's there, letting it sit for as long as it needs to sit, and then clearing it out, like actually swiping or Xing it out in your mind and closing it, letting the next thing come and doing the same thing until you've cleared them all. And then that feeling of clarity, that place of clarity, is where you want to try to be as much as you can in life. You want to try to like act from that, think from that. Yeah. So anyway, just meditation has been my big thing ever since that discovery a couple of years ago. That journey I was taking, and it's led me now to, I'm a student of meditation and yoga, trying to get my teacher certificate for both of those things. A lot of it just because I have a passion for it and I want to learn more, be able to do more for my own practice and my own healing that I continue to need to do, and I know I will for the rest of my life, really. But also, as I do it more, I just realize a lot of people can benefit from it. As I talk to more people about it, I realize like it's a common experience, like people dealing with stress, anxieties, traumas from the past, things they need to heal from. So it's one of those things where I've never been somebody to be super comfortable like promoting and pushing things out there. It's not anything that I generate anyway. But it's something I've just realized as I practice that it's kind of too good to not share.
I love that. Yes, exactly.
It's something that if it can benefit anybody, especially people who could be in some dark places in their life, like you just never know with what you're putting out there's going to help somebody.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of where my head's at right now with this. I'm still a student in it. I'm still learning, still growing, trying to heal myself. But along the way, if I can share things that help others, and that's great. That's kind of the angle that I'm coming at it
there was a
from.
lot in there.
Yeah.
Sorry. A lot in there. No.
amazing.
I have so many questions.
So many gems.
I have so many questions. But I guess the first one I would, if you don't mind, because definitely see some of myself in there for sure. Because I've also experienced things like that in my household. But but I mean, it's a different angle and obviously different stories. How do you know? How were you able to realize that that's what you're experiencing, that these possible things in your past was affecting your present? Because most people they just tread through maybe their entire life just super dark and negative, and they don't even try to find it what it is. Like, how did you even go through the journey of discovering like, okay, this must be where it is? And do you need to find that root of what started it to be able to learn and grow from there? Like, how is the process for you?
That's a good question, because I actually think that it's very flipped the other way. Like I approached meditation not looking for big answers to deep questions or anything like that. I approached it because I had severe pain physically and mentally that just needed some relief. And so, like I said, I tried all kinds of things and I was just trying to see what would stick. And this is one of the things that stuck as I did it more and more. And the good thing about the way this first way I learned to do it was simple. You could do it in 10, 15, 20 minutes. It's not like it was asking you to do hours worth of work or anything. So I tried it, and I just felt, just after the 10, 15 minutes, just felt a little lighter. That's all it started with, was just that I walk around usually in life, or at that time, feeling very heavy, feeling very like low energy, my mind feeling very taxed, my spirit feeling very taxed. And so to do something that you feel that little bit of relief, I was like, something that had not happened with anything else I tried. I mean, I've gone to like doctors for all these things I just mentioned, like, regular Western US medicine, couldn't get really any answers or relief. And it's frustrating. I think it is frustrating for a lot of people, but yoga and meditation was really the only thing right after I felt just that little bit of relief from. And as I did it more and more and more consistently, I felt more and more of it. But to get to your question about that, those deeper questions, what's interesting is that in my experience of it is that I realized that a lot of the times when we have too many of those apps open and those windows open and our system's very taxed, that we respond a lot to each other and even ourselves as in a defensive way. Because what I learned about how our mind works is that we have, with our nervous system, we have something built in from as long as the human race has been around, caveman days, is this fight or flight system that everybody, kind of knows, has heard of at some point. But that's what activates when we get stressed. And so when we are in survival mode, our body does a lot of, and our mind does crazy things all on its own. It's not anything you're deciding to do, but your immune system gets a little shut off, because if you imagine that you're a caveman over there and there's a big bear about to attack you, your body is like sending messages saying that there's a lot of stuff that can be put off right now. Like, we don't need to digest your food very well. We don't need your immune system to have all the resources, because right now the bear is the threat. What I need to do is I'm going to pump a bunch of stress hormones into you, and I need you to activate your muscles, and I just need you to run, right? So I mean, in modern day, we might not be dealing with actual animals as threats, but the normal everyday stresses we deal with, our body interprets it the same way. So when we get stressed out,
A bear's coming.
the bear's coming in. The messages are being sent to us to like shut all these body systems down. And then even mentally, we're defensive, because everything's about survival. So like when we're dealing with other people, we're not thinking about how that other person's feeling when we're talking to them or considering their needs. It's our needs that are the priority, because we're trying to survive. Or when we're dealing with ourselves, even when we ask ourselves deep questions, we're not coming at it from clarity. We're coming at it from a very vulnerable, ego-driven way that we don't really get the right answer sometimes. So what I noticed is, as I did meditation more and I was able to clear my mind more and more and hold that place of clarity longer and sustain it, I just noticed different answers to my questions would come up. And I don't know where that comes up per se. I mean, I think it comes from you and your experiences and your intuition, your own intelligence. But you can't really get to that deeper intelligence if you don't first find a way to reach and sustain that peace around you more and more,
Man, you know what's so crazy? I don't know how you are with like looking at things that in past, or like how you feel about past lives or other things, but it's hearing you. We're not gonna get started. I promise.
We'll have someone for
But
that.
I like past lives.
but what it reminds me of when you say that though is I guess the idea was back in the day before whatever human race was living here had more access to their brain and had more access and abilities to do things. And like these meditation practices are older practices. So clearly, like, if it worked for people that probably had more abilities and more purposes, it's so cool to be able to apply it with whatever we have in the bodies we have now, which aren't nearly as functional as I'm sure it was back then, or even with the brains, and stuff. So it's kind of cool to be able to, that you've found that, and that you're able to like to apply it, and then and hearing you say it, it's like, oh yeah, like ding, it's like it's
Yes,
crazy.
that makes sense.
It's crazy because it works the same way that it worked for them back then, but
Different
and
stressors.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and then
Different time now.
and then being able to peel, like how you said, like somehow you just discover it. I mean, then it all makes sense, because that's probably how everyone is able to find things
Yeah,
and like
there's layers.
and understand it. So it's that's crazy, like to even hear you break it down like that.
I mean, like an example I'd give you too about my own journey with it is that, for a long time I don't know, my emotions changed about my feelings about my dad, right? My birth dad. I mean, it originated with anger for sure, and then it dips into sadness. It dips into all kinds of things, but and so if you would have asked me at the time, before meditation, how do I fix the problems I have? I don't know that I would have gone there per se, because all I felt about that situation was anger and upset, and I don't know that I would have made the link between that and why do I need to feel affirmed by everybody all the time? Why do I need to feel accepted by people? But what's on my journey with this clarity, and then thinking about my own issues and my dad, is that I realized that I needed to forgive my dad, because a lot of what was making me want that from other people was that he didn't give it to me. But one of my first contacts in life where I needed to feel secure didn't make me feel secure, and so I craved it in all of my other surroundings and from other people, and I only realized after a lot of meditation and gaining a lot of clarity that I needed to forgive him. And like I said before, usually I think when you're not clear and have that clarity and peace, your mind's thinking defensively. So I wouldn't have thought to forgive my dad in that moment. I'd think about doing a lot of other things to my dad in that moment, right? But only by getting clear and getting to a place of like egoless, that's just taking my self-preservation, my defensiveness out of it, can I see that, yeah, it's a lot of bad things happen, so I need to forgive and move on. And it's not forgive to like for him, it's forgive for me, like forgive to let go of that poison I hold in myself that is corrupting the way that I'm acting now with people I care about. Yeah. So yeah, it's just an example of how, you can't really do that when you're selfish.
It's crazy too because what you learn too, even when like they talk about criminals and people in jail, or they talk to like murderers, and like what it really is, it's a learned thing. So you can either see it. So I mean, I don't know what your dad experienced when he was young, or maybe before that. But
he has a history of it too.
So it's like if you see that environment and you learn from it, you can justify how you act, or you could be maybe what you did in your journey is to say, I don't want to be that.
Which is kudos to you, because that's strength in itself to get out of that and want to be better. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, because no one's telling you to do that. I mean, it didn't seem like anyone was really saying you need to be that. And so to decide on your own, it
takes a lot of courage.
It takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of like it's because you could totally be a jerk. But I mean, I don't get that you were a jerk anyways. I feel like he was always cool. So.
No, but it's true. Like you just
her family.
you just act in a mindless way. I think is a lot. Like you just do whatever the initial reaction to something is. And meditation is really about gaining this control over yourself enough to not just react to everything that happens to you in life, but to create enough pause and space and clarity so that you can choose to respond a certain way from that peaceful
Sounds like
place.
we all need meditation.
Yeah. Can I ask you one more thing? Because it's kind of weird because I'm still on the journey to learn meditation as well, but I'm very fascinated with it. Is it similar, because obviously you've been doing this for a bit, but is it similar to like a dream? So like, when you dream and you literally felt like you were in a dream for a week and you wake up, it's been like 10 minutes. Like, do you feel like when you're talking about closing apps and things, like, is it similar where you're in a space for a while, you're doing this and you're going through things and closing things out and like figuring out how to get through these things until you can get more space, that you actually can do so much more in a short amount of time?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you would say that because meditation, when you learn about it, one of the first things you learn is like the different states that your mind kind of goes through, and the three major ones are the waking state, which is us walking, talking as we are right now. Then there's the dream state and the deep sleep state. And what meditation is doing is pretty much mimicking that natural process that happens, but it's giving you a little extra. So like what you don't realize when you go to sleep and you dream, a lot of the images that you're seeing are your mind processing stress and emotions with what you've experienced in life. So it's using things you've seen and done, and it's using it to put on this little show in your mind to kind of process really tough things going on in your mind. And so similarly, when you first meditate, like when you first close your eyes, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but a lot of it centers around you're going to anchor your focus on something. Your breath is usually one of the most common ones.
I've heard that.
So you're always trying to focus there, but what you're going to notice is that as you're focusing there, your mind's naturally going to drift to something. That would be the equivalent of when you go to sleep and your mind dreams. Like your mind drifts to something, it puts pictures and things together, and it's your mind processing something that is stressful going on inside of you. And then in meditation, like when you sleep, you dream, and then sometimes you get to really deep sleep where you're not dreaming anymore. It's like everything's turned off, the mind, the body. In meditation, that's kind of what you're striving to get to. You're striving to do it long enough and continually practice this, like getting distracted by your thoughts and your stressors, bringing it back to your breath, getting distracted again, bringing it back. They call it practicing the return, right? Always returning until the point where your mind's run out of the things that are stressing you. You've let go, you've practiced seeing it, looking at it in a loving way, letting it go, coming back to your breath. And you do it enough times where you reach this point, and I've reached it a few times where there's nothing there, and it's the coolest thing, because especially for somebody who goes through a lot of stress and trauma, the feeling of your mind being completely clear is unexplainable. Like it's to some people it might not seem like a big deal, but for somebody who stresses a lot, it's a noticeable. You're just like, whoa, and it feels like bliss. It feels like complete contentedness. And you might only be in that state, like if somebody was there timing you, you might only be there for a couple seconds or a minute. But like you said, it feels like inside you feel like you've been there for a long time. And you feel like, quite honestly, if you didn't have a reason to wake up or somebody didn't come interrupt you, you don't want to stop because you know what you're going back to. You're going to go back to this endless cycle of your mind just spinning and thinking about the next thing to do and what's bothering me, what's bothering people I care about. So you're continuously just like showing your mind, first of all, which is very important, that there is a place inside of you that you carry always, that you can always access, of this complete clarity and serenity and peace, especially in the times when it's most difficult, so that you can access it just for your own benefit, but also for the benefit of others and for everything around you, because you want to act from that place. You want to act from that clear, peaceful place, not the defensive, emotional place. I mean, most people know that's not when we make our best decisions, right? Like when the emotions are flaring. So, so it is similar to sleep. And so they say when you sleep, you're processing stress, but what we go through on a day-to-day basis, sleep's not enough. So like whatever your body's processing at night, or you take naps and whatever, but meditation is meant to supplement that, do that same process, but do it intentionally and at different times of the day.
I can imagine that would be something like really, really great and accomplished. I have done meditation once where I felt like it totally worked, where I like read a book and it was about the breathing. And I really do remember, like, I remember feeling like I was sleeping, but I was awake. And I do remember my mind clearing out. But the most craziest thing I remember is when I woke up, I felt like I took a nap for like 3 hours. And I was completely aware. So it was definitely like what you're saying in that sense. And what's interesting is even hearing you say about being conscious, or at least when you're doing the mind clear, unlike a dream, not everyone has the ability to retain the memories from the dreams. So to be able to do it in the meditation state, like at least being sort of all there in a sense.
What you're describing to about like the mind being clear, but you know that you're still there. There is an awareness and a consciousness. And over time, I think if you access that place more and more, then new things start to come up. Like maybe I wouldn't call them thoughts and emotions. I'd call them intentions, like things that are deep within you about maybe something that you just want to do, something you feel an intuition to do, and that's something different speaking than your like everyday surface emotions. Like that's a deeper self, wherever that comes from. I mean, whatever you believe that comes from, but it's a deeper, kind of more reasoned, more grounded self, and even a self that's kind of tied into intuition, not always logic. Like sometimes the best thing to do for you isn't what somebody would say is the most logical. It's just something you know deep down in that place that feels like the right way to go. And the more you can kind of act that way, it seems, at least from my own experience, which is why I don't stop doing it, is that the more I spend time in that place, the more I act from that place, the more the world seems to just work in my favor, to be honest with you. It's like, and it's not even that everything always works out that I want. It's actually very much not that way. Like I want things to be a certain way a lot of times, and it doesn't. But what I get to do when I meditate is I get to see that, and instead of being attached to it and like obsessing over the fact that it didn't go the way I want and getting upset, I'm able to see it, like calling my meditation, see it lovingly, let it go, live and come back to the present, move on, and see what the next thing is to offer. But as I live more in that place, things just start kind of falling in place a lot in ways I don't even expect, but in a way that I just, at the end of the day, I know that I'm happy and more peaceful. And that's really, once I've felt that compared to what I've felt in the past, I just know that
that's it.
That's where I want to be. I don't care what else is going on.
I love that you're doing this journey with the best intentions. Because right when you said intentions, the first thing I started thinking of is, that's awesome because you're saying good intentions, but I've seen people do meditations for horrible intentions. And so it can definitely, like, it can either intensify a dark space that you want to have, or it can definitely brighten your space. So so I love that. Thank you for sharing, because I mean, some of the things you talked about were, that's not, I think that's the easiest thing to share. You know, and I appreciate it. Definitely.
We appreciate it.
Is there something that you do if, let's say, something happens, event, stressor that happens, and you're awake and you don't have that opportunity to take the time to meditate at that point? Because there's something that you can focus on, or that you do to kind of quiet your mind without being able to sit somewhere and close your eyes?
So that's one of the reasons. I mean, this is not my knowledge or perspective on it. It's something I've definitely read, but experience is that's why it's great to use your breath as the object of focus, because if you have a regular meditation practice, so this is outside of the incident, but if you do it, like say once or twice a day, in the morning and at night, like when you wake up, you go to bed, you're training your mind to associate your breath with that state. So like when I am going through my day-to-day life, if something stresses me in that moment, like you said, I can't go away and just sit by myself and calm down. But what I can do is for us, just a couple of seconds, just close my eyes, take one full mind, and I mean mindful, like everything about what I'm thinking is about my breath, the feeling of the air going in my nose, the sound of it going into my nose, and I'm thinking, and I'm actually saying in and out. And when you do that completely mindfully and you meditate long enough, there's just this, it's like Pavlov's dog, right? It's your mind feels that breath, that mindfulness, and it just puts you in that state right there, enough to make enough space where you're not going to just, like say you're having an argument with somebody, you're not going to just fire back in a defensive, I want to hurt you kind of way.
I need more tips.
Right.
Yeah.
You create enough space and peace to consider, like, what should I do? What is the better thing to do for me here? And yeah, I've done it both ways. I've definitely been the person to just fly off the handle with the initial, thing that made me upset, and I've done it in a way where I created with my breath and my daily practice just enough space to stop myself from doing something destructive to myself or other people, and to intentionally do what I think is the best thing to do in that next moment. So that, I don't know if that adds to you. That's why the breath is great, because it's portable. You take it anywhere. It's always with you, and it's always it's always accessible, even in very small moments.
I love that, dude. This has been great, and I feel like
the energy right now too is just very zen. It's just,
can we talk about the zen couple? Like
what a zen couple we have.
Yeah, you guys.
Amazing.
I love
made in heaven.
I
love it.
A lot of times when we talk about things, we talk about positivity and talk about elevating yourself and like in what the things we do. And so it's great to always talk to people that are also doing the same, because no one's telling us that we have to be, that no one's necessarily saying we have to be better humans. There are people that are doing it. But like even with the whole thing with Black Lives Matter, it's just teaching people like, hey man, do something to be just a better version of yourself. Because if you did that, you wouldn't be so judgy on people that didn't have opportunities you have. And so in the same way, like the fact that you've been able to take things you've dealt with and to be able to say like, well, I can change myself because I want to be a better version of myself. Like that's real man things, sir. Congrats.
Congrats.
Thank you. There is on that note too, something if I can plug something for
please
right now,
plug away.
And I've only just started reading this book. I'm literally just on chapter 1, but it's something that I've already noticed is just, and it's tied what you just said about Black Lives Matter and about racial justice and stuff. So I'm reading this book called The Inner Work of Racial Justice by Rhonda McGee, and she is a professor in the University of San Francisco who. She's a woman of color. She's African American. She grew up, I think, in San Francisco, but grew up in trauma, just similar to what I described I experienced. But she found a mindfulness and meditation practice, and she chose to study racial injustice as like her focus academically, right? But then she brings her experience of meditation, mindfulness into it. So that's like what you're saying. It's a book that's kind of teaching me, and could teach really a lot of people, how to just slow everything down enough to self-examine the thoughts that you're having. And like I said, like bias in itself is one of those things where you don't even really know you have them. You're kind of just throughout your day, and it's not like you have a bad intention. It's just like something happened and you're reacting, right? You're thinking a certain way about it. You're acting a certain way. And like I explained earlier about just creating that space, it also works not just for giving you peace, but for giving you enough openness and time to consider like, what I'm about to think, what I'm about to say, what I'm about to do, is that the right thing to do? Because we don't do that.
It's like a matrix, matrix kind of like a little
it's
time
like
warp.
A filter.
It's like a time warp but it's in seconds, but it feels like, I'm not doing that.
Just to consider, like, is it where your actions are coming from? And it's not an instant process. It's just one of those things where you get to observe and you're reflecting and looking at what you're thinking, saying, and doing over a period of time, not judging yourself either, because we're all on a journey, all growing. And so it's just noticing. And then at some point you might have a realization, like, maybe I shouldn't think that way anymore. Maybe maybe there's a different way I can think about this. Maybe there's a different way I can speak about the feelings I have or the thoughts I have, and then even doing action. Like maybe I can do things differently in a way that doesn't harm myself and other people.
I love it. Hey, now thanks for that book share. Because honestly, like as through the journey of just learning to be a better person, I mean, I actually really do appreciate that, because you can get sucked in and you can actually be, it can make you be a negative person, can just upset at people. Yeah. So be able to incorporate something positive into it and learn at the same time is actually like, that's definitely seems like the way to go. So I'm going to have to write that down.
We're going to need that book. We're going to need to get that book.
Thank you again, man. I really appreciate you taking time to come in. And this is awesome. And we'd love to just see your journey. I guess what we'll do is put a link up somewhere and you'll see it somewhere in the description, or on, if you're watching the YouTube version, it'll be on there. But please keep making those great meditation videos, and like I think we're gonna see if you can ask you to help us with something. Cool. So a little mini moment. Thank you. Anything else you wanted to say?
No, just thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story, and again, just from that spirit of just if it can help anybody else, if anyone else can relate to it, just any way that it can get out there and that I can help while on my own journey pursuing my own peace. I'm grateful for it, so thank you for having me.
And we see what you guys are doing. Like Quinn always tells us, you guys are out there trying to do stuff for the community and just being good citizens, and like it's a great example. And like if that's I don't know if that's just an indication of who you guys are, or if it's your journey that's added to the desire to do that. But I mean, we need more of that, and it's I would say continue, and like let us know when you do that stuff. I mean, I'd love to be a part of it. I need to drag my butt out and do more things for the community. I love it.
Inspiring us.
Anyway, thanks so much, man. Have a good one. Thank you. Yay.
On a good note,
so this is a time we like to focus on something positive, and obviously it's however you want it to represent, but do you have a good note for us?
It's something that's really near and dear to my wife and I. It is like a mantra for me. It's something that when I practice meditation, aside from just focusing on my breath, I remind myself of this as I'm getting deeper into it, which is just be. So on, as I'm meditating on inhales at the end of my meditation, I say just. On the exhale, I say be. And I do it over and over again, and it has so many meanings for me. First and foremost, it's about realizing that all the stressors in our lives, like the day-to-day things that are just hitting us from all angles, that there's a way to take a break from it. Like that you can like really take control of the fact that inside of you, that's your domain, that's your space. Nobody else can get in there unless you allow it. And so realizing that you can retreat there, when things are getting too hard, even for a few seconds, for a few minutes, you can go into that place and just reset and just be in that sense. And the more and more you do that, that you end up being able to just be yourself, because then you're not worrying about, so much about what I have to do and how do I have to come across to other people. You're just being who you are, and you're finding that deeper self the more and more you do, like say meditation or any kind of practice where you're trying to find that higher self. So you get to just be yourself, and there's just an ease and a clarity to that I hope that for myself it's a continuous journey to try to get there. For me and my family, we all do that in different ways together, and then I just hope for everyone else that they can find that, because there's a lot of people, and I've been there and I am there still on some days, but they're stressed out, and sometimes through no fault of their own. But the thing is, it might not be your fault that you are wherever you are, but it is your power and your responsibility really to take control, like I said, of yourself, and know that inside of you, only you dictate that,
I mean, honestly, we didn't really get to even tell Kaitie this either, really, but just listening to you guys just speaking of it, I gotta say, like, that whole idea of just be, like, what I love about it is when you look at people that are confident people, that arrogance that people have when they're confident is because a lot of times they're just faking it till they make it. And like that arrogance, they feel like they need to be strong and they need to push to get their way. But you guys do have this really calming sense of confidence where it just, it's different, because not only is it just like, it's something. These are people I actually want to listen to. Like when you guys walk in, it's like oh, who are those people? It's an energy that you bring.
Energy,
right? So the confidence that comes in, or just the fact that you're okay with who you are, but in you're a very open, intentional space. I think like that confidence also like. It not only just gravitates people that maybe even if they're faking the confidence, they're just like this. I mean, I don't know what's going on here, but I like this. They need it because you want you want authenticity too. Like I feel like everyone still strives for that, because it's exhausting to be someone you're not. Right. Definitely. So I just feel like like that whole idea of it that journey is something that we all really want to strive to be, because sometimes you do have to fake it to make it to like help other people get through it, because it doesn't really need to be about what you're dealing with in your head all the time. And then like but constantly working on yourself and doing that, it's like it's infectious. I'm like super full. I'm very full.
I know.
Thank you for saying.
If you were watching the video, if I'm making like weird faces or smiling, it's because I'm loving this and enjoying this so much, and I keep looking at my sister. I'm just like, girl,
and I look at Quinn and be like,
you got a good name.
Love it.
You need to try this. Yeah.
Okay, so we're super excited about this one, and Mel, tell them the story of how we even got to know about this.
All right, we have here Mitch's Oʻahu Premium chili pepper water. Okay, we met Mitch. We did an event for him. Gosh, 4 years back. It's been a minute. But he gave us a bunch of chili pepper water to try, and it was before it was even in these nice, beautiful glass bottles. I think it was just in like water bottle kind. And he is now in Times. I think he's in Don Quixote again. Don't quote me. But it's just so awesome to see his product on the shelves at a major store.
I saw him at Foodland. That's where I found it again. I was like, oh my gosh, because this was. It's like there's only one other chili pepper water I've ever tried, and I don't think that's available locally. But dude, I don't want to hype it out because have you tried it, Cody?
Nope. No.
Okay, so this is really exciting.
But Cody likes chili pepper water.
I do not like vinegar. I do not like chili pepper water. Bad Hawaiian.
Yeah.
But we tried this and had to have this on this segment because I'm obsessed. And I'm like, Jen, can I have more? Jen, can I have more?
Yeah. Yes. And this is the thing. Quinn is like, I hate vinegar. And I was like, why are we friends?
Yeah.
I never liked chili pepper water until we had these actually. So this is the reason why I like chili pepper water.
So there's two versions that we saw that were available. We got this from Times Square in Pearl City, the market shopping center. Yeah. And there's two versions of it. So that's the mild. And what's this one called?
And this one is the hot.
And there's a chili floating around.
You know what, Mitch? Way to go. Can you just keep it simple, mild, and hot? That's all you need to know.
Perfect.
You just have an amazing product. You don't need anything more than that.
What's in there?
I think this is a habanero pepper. I was trying to see, like, what kind of pepper is this? Not regular, it's habanero.
I think the other one's habanero, too.
Doesn't
Do you need your oolong chaser? Do you still have tea?
I'm out.
Yep.
I got you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this first one we're gonna try is the mild. And what's the ingredients in here?
Okay, the ingredients. Oh, I didn't shake well. Okay, well, whatever. I'll shake the next one. My bad.
Shake a leg.
Ingredients: water, white distilled vinegar, from corn, distilled from corn. Okay, well that's cool. Sea salt, dehydrated garlic, habanero peppers, monosodium glutamate,
cool.
whatever,
and some
sounds
salt. Crazy. Yeah, I love it.
Cheers. Are you cheersing?
So you started doing scientific names. It's like, we're done here. Let's try this.
Cheers.
There we go. Enjoy.
I can sip this. I'm so obsessed.
Are you into it?
It's good.
Dude,
I'm
I'm
a
just
little
saying.
worried about that hot one, though.
I know.
Same.
Look, I already know I'm going to cough and
So here's the thing. I literally, like, anyone I know that doesn't like chili pepper water loves this.
It's so good.
And literally,
living testament.
Yeah. And then
Living
Quinn and I,
testament.
if Quinn and I are talking on the phone, they see me sipping, like, I just crack the bottle at home because no one else drinks it. I just drink from the bottle.
And she's just shooting it.
And as we were talking, I'm just like, she goes, "Are you drinking?" I said, "I sure am."
I'm drinking.
I got rid of one whole bottle in 3 days.
Yeah, she's like, it'll be gone.
I know. I wouldn't recommend that.
Start your morning with this.
It didn't hurt on the way
Sounds like
out.
a cleanser.
It definitely. I mean,
so yummy,
isn't that what it is?
Yes.
Isn't it supposed to be like a good way to cleanse?
Sure.
Even
take
if it
it.
wasn't,
Don't
it
know.
surely would do
Don't
the
know.
thing.
Yeah.
I know that hot one's gonna.
Yes,
but-
peppers are good for you. They're good for you. It's for your good for your metabolism. I don't even know. I'm not sure. I think so.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I feel like it.
Yeah,
Like-
sounds great.
This is an all-over palette chili pepper water. It's not like the It's
The mild
garlic.
is there's a spice.
There's a
Little
spice.
kick.
It's
'Cause
perfect.
It's chili pepper
It's
water.
Yeah,
perfect.
but it also don't got no habanero floating in the bottle. They're like this other one.
Nothing
What's
scaring
the
me. I'm just
deal?
looking at it.
Scared.
It's also way redder than. Oh wait, shake it, girl.
Oh yeah,
Shake
thank you.
it.
See, good thing she reminded me because I already forgot.
And good thing we have an oolong tea chaser. Do you need more tea, Jay? Because you don't. Oh, you have.
I have,
some.
I have this. I have this can.
Darling, pass me your cup.
Darling, I'm scared.
So is there garlic and vinegar in that one?
Yes,
Oh,
there is
girl.
garlic. I don't know.
So much. Oh my lord.
What are you
Can I have like a quarter of what you
Oh,
gave
you know-
Jay?
Oh, God.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I was excited to smell it. It literally made me cough.
Oh, no.
A pepper, the scent of pepper
Oh,
went
man.
through my nostrils
Only the
and
mild
Be a
made my
viral
throat itchy.
moment about to happen.
Oh my god.
It's like one of those challenges. Yeah.
But it still smells great. So.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, how come? How come? It's okay. You don't need to know. If you know, you know. Upset. Mel, did you snort?
I almost did a full I'm trying not to, you guys. I'm one of those hard laugher.
Okay, well, we want to try this, Mel.
Sorry, I can't stop
Don't
laughing.
start with this one. That's going to be a mistake.
Is that okay? Okay,
Great.
sorry.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to sip this. I'm so scared.
I need to hold my tea.
So
in my
Ooh, hang
hand.
on to your ball.
I don't like spicy. I just like I like a little kick. I like Tabasco because it's got the vinegar and some spice.
Nope.
And so I don't. You can just step. But but this like straight up hotter things. No man.
Oh,
Like
boy.
the one time I tried to do that at a Thai restaurant and said I want.
Oh man.
I'll take spicy.
Oh, no.
That's
that's
where
a
you don't want to
mistake.
mess up on the
Yeah.
Thai
One
spicy, yo.
bite.
It will.
I did
That's
one
no
bite
lie.
and it went right in the trash. I could not.
Yeah, they don't mess around.
No, absolutely not. My mouth felt like it was going to fall off.
When she's like spicy or Thai spicy, I know
Thai
I better
spicy?
get spicy.
I didn't even
'cause
get
I
there.
feel like
I didn't even get there.
That's
Yeah.
the next level.
I think it was like mild, medium, hot. I think I ordered medium and
Yeah.
it felt like I was dying.
It just depends.
You
Some
just
of
start
them-
sweating.
depends
and
which one you
everything.
go
Chef.
to. Yeah, you gotta know.
Yo. Okay, are you guys ready?
Right, I think. I don't know.
We have to share.
I'm so scared. I'm so
so
scared.
scared too.
All right,
Face
Mitch.
your fears.
All right, Mitch. For you, Mitch.
Yep, Mitch, you the best.
Okay, we're good.
It was really hot, but that's hella dope.
It's good.
Initially, it's a
Yeah.
spicy,
It is.
but then
It's definitely spicier, but the flavor.
The flavor is
very
still there,
similar.
Mitch.
There.
Mitch.
Wow.
Congrats,
Guys, you need to try this.
Yeah, it's
You
good.
need to try it.
Premium chili pepper water. We cater to flavor bar.
Give me. I need some more mild. I need a mild chaser because this tea is not.
Nothing
She's
you do in
not
your
the
life's
point.
mild, friend.
It's
It
true.
just like goes right to the back
I
of
need
your
to
throat.
change this hot chili pepper with mild chili pepper.
Yeah.
Katie, come try this. We're gonna bring Katie. She's still here. We need her to go from mild to hot.
To try this.
Oh, can you grab one cup from the back?
Yeah.
She has her tea cup that I gave her some in.
Oh, you had some? You had some already?
But you
Oh,
need-
you did. You did.
Okay, she went for the mild. Okay, let's have give it a hot.
Definitely little sip, very small.
a very tiny
Just super
sip.
tiny.
Oh wait, you cannot drink hots?
No, I'm
It's just-
okay. I just
okay.
that's okay.
that too-
Yeah.
is that
No, I'm
more?
Just
okay.
don't drink it the same way you drink the mild.
The mild was so
The
good.
mild was so
yummy.
yummy. This is also yummy. It's
Yeah,
just
it's very
Yeah.
Okay, cheers.
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 Or as my son likes to say, dilly dilly.
delicious.
Dilly dilly.
True.
Yeah.
Oh, the cute.
It's like a commercial.
That mild all day, every day.
I get scared before I have to swallow that I think I'm gonna start
It's so
choking.
good though.
it's so good, but it's
But
really
whole.
hot.
But whole
yeah.
brah.
Yeah.
Like if I want to really cleanse my innards, I would
Yeah.
take that. I would be
Oh,
like,
yeah, I, can see
feel
it.
them
I can see how
cleansing
this
right
would
now.
get-
don't drink this on an empty stomach because I've done that as well.
No.
And as delicious as that was, it was painful.
That would hurt. I can imagine.
This
So.
habanero's just sitting in your tummy.
This might be the best chili pepper water I've ever had.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
Yup.
I really
Mitch.
like,
Good.
yeah. I
Yeah.
really like chili pepper
It made
water.
that
So-
you need to try
So yeah,
it.
Times has it. I
Yeah.
seen it at Foodland. So I'm
Times
hoping.
Food Land, yep.
Yeah. So I guess pretty much wherever you can find it.
www.mitchesproducts.com.
Yeah, and then we've seen this in the poke section, like where if they have fresh
that's where
poke,
it's at.
we've seen it somewhere in the area. So I'm really glad it's making its way out because people
Yeah.
need to know what's up.
Yeah, that's good.
This is
Can I have more
what's
the mild? I see why you asked
Thank
for the
you.
mild.
Yeah, girl.
So good, right?
Sorry, Tyler.
Girl, it's its own shots of life.
Yeah.
Who needs alcohol when you have?
Garlic.
Chili pepper water.
But it's just,
Habaneros.
I need to use this to wash down the.
Yes.
No, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I.
The
But it's
mild
not
is
like
much-
it is spicy, but it's not like you
Mind-blowing.
don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
not burning your
enjoyable.
face off.
Well, there's some chili pepper water when everyone's like they have it there and there's no flavor. It's just
Yeah.
literally water and pepper. I'm like, why?
Yes.
Why are you
What
doing this
in
to
the
me?
world? Yeah.
Yeah,
Why would you gift your
absolutely
friends
not.
and family this?
And then people are like, yeah, shots. I'm like, absolutely not.
What? It's homemade. Oh,
Is it Mitch's though?
yeah.
Don't give me it if it's not Mitch's.
Here's the thing. Lena keeps talking about how she has the best chili pepper water, and I ain't
but
tried
we
it yet.
haven't
She
tried it.
refuses.
We
Uh-oh.
She
going
still hasn't
to
given it to me. So
that.
Lena, if you get to this episode,
Challenge.
I said it.
Where are you?
How dare you?
We need chili pepper with a side of stew with dessert after.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lena's beef stew. Oh my gosh, we need to try that.
Yes, I've heard about Lena's beef.
And
stew.
the
I've never had
chicken.
it.
And the
could do an
chicken.
I've had her
entire-
chicken. I've had her
Oh
chicken.
my
Chicken
gosh.
entire-
And chicken long rice.
I've had her chicken. Oh, I haven't had her chicken long
Dude,
rice.
anything they make.
Huh?
Her cake.
Yeah, the red velvet cake. Oh my god.
I know. I wasn't able to
cobbler.
get any of those because it's all have dairy in it. But I was like watching everyone's posts. I'm like, it looks so good.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person when I cook that if the recipe says
That's
2
good.
cloves of garlic, I'm like, so 30. then.
Yeah, that is me.
That is why I love this
That is
so
me,
much.
girl. Yup. There's
Literally.
never enough garlic.
And you know what's
for me.
crazy? Like whatever the mix is, it doesn't sit like where you feel like you're gonna kill someone.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
yeah.
The garlic, you know what I mean? Like the pepper, garlic, like the vinegar ratio, it just feels like a like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice.
How?
How?
Thanks again, you guys, for hanging out with us.
Thank you
you.
guys.
This is
Amazing.
great. And so, do you think people need to try this?
Definitely.
Yes.
Yay.
Must go
Yes.
get some on the way home.
You heard it
Yeah.
here.
I need to go get some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So get it like after me so that
Yeah.
I can get it first.
In case there's 2 bottles.
There's times right over here. I'm going after.
Yes.
Racing.
That's
Are you
where you
ready?
gonna go, girl. There's plenty.
I love it. Take this with you guys.
Thank you.
This has been a Soul Tree Music Factory and LiveMusicHawaii.com production.
Produced and engineered by Jen J Rock Wright. Theme song and jingles written by J Rock and performed by J Rock, Melanie, and Quinn.
Tune artwork of us done by Jen Matsui. And all the other graphics done by, me.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at HeyYouHiThere3 or visit us on our website, HeyYouHiThere3.com. Send us suggestions of things we need to try or let us know how you like the show by emailing us at HeyYouHiThere3@gmail.com.
So basically, listen, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review at Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Bye! Oh, you guys, this has been great. I'm like exhausted because that was so fulfilling. Yeah. I'm like super duper like, wow, that was intense.
I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, it's, I love having good conversations with people,
Me too.
but also it's super, I love to hear when people have a journey
Yeah.
and you just see like they're just trying to be better.
Very similar
Yeah.
to Jen's journey.
Complacency is the worst.
Yeah.
And I feel like and especially people that are complacent with life,
Uh-huh.
and then they just blame everything, like everything's going wrong. It's like, well, you
Yeah.
haven't changed.
Yeah.
It's just that everything's changing around you.
Yeah.
And like one of my favorite quotes is, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And I was like, it is. Huh?